Hey y'all, back at it again, part two. All right. So, where I left off was I was discussing the book of Enoch, in which Enoch described all he saw within his lead up to the heavens and what he saw actually in the heavens, from seeing the planets as navigational devices, more like buoys, leading to the heavens, and buoys just in general throughout space. Okay. And then he talks about, like I said, where the winds come from, where the clouds go to, um, the north, east, south, west, how the winds move around the earth and what dispatches them, and the angels that that's duty to lead them out and have them go and everything and such and so forth. Okay, and then as well as he transcended the different angels that he ran across and the different duties. And then also he speaks about the mountains that he's seen covered in certain types of jewels, you might say, that glistened and whatnot, all the way to the point where he reached the Heavenly Father, all right? In which he doesn't speak about what he's seen or nothing like that, or more like throughout the Bible, whenever you see somebody speak of that high figure, they talk about the overwhelmingly shining light and the presence of the Heavenly Father. But he does speak about his conversation with the Heavenly Father. And then also, what I think is very interesting inside the Bible is you cannot find the person that wrote the first couple of books throughout the Bible. All right, but you do know that they exist and they were written down and they were passed down throughout the history of the Bible. But in later books of the Bible, it speaks of who wrote this, who wrote that, and such and so forth. So when Enoch actually came back down to speak to his son, he had his son write down what he saw, write down a couple scriptures and everything else like that. So, in my theory, I think that Enoch is the person that wrote those first couple of books discussing maybe Genesis and the beginning of the world. Why do I say that? It's because how much he gave to Earth. All right, when it comes down to mathematics, when it comes down to health, nature, and space, and everything else of that nature. And then to talk about space also, so interesting that Egypt and other forms throughout Africa and other forms throughout the world, they use the stars as navigation devices to move around the world, similar to the way Enoch spoke of the planets as buoys to navigate and whatnot. All right. So when Enoch touched down, he talked to his son for, I don't know if it was a few days or just a few hours, but he had him write down his sayings and everything that he wanted to put, what he saw, and likely the history of mankind as well, to bring us to where we at now, as far as the early books of the Bible. Okay, and leading up to this would be, why did they take out the book of Enoch from the Bible? Okay, as well as other books, but mainly the book of Enoch, because after you read it or just hearing about what I speak about and knowing that inside just a regular book, it speaks of the one that walked with the God or the Heavenly Father, which is Enoch. All right, so why would you take out that such important book? Is the same way as they separate us with science and God in today's age. All right, and choosing to discredit the Bible of as well as the other books, is saying that it's things that they couldn't understand or things that they didn't want to give the people in the form of answers. All right, meaning the Bible having too many answers of the world that we're living in. Okay, and then ways that, like I said in previous videos, that the Bible's initial intention was to control the masses. All right, whenever it started going out into the world, other than Africa and Ethiopia where it originated, it was used to control the masses. All right, and doing so, they wouldn't have been able to describe or to tell you in depth about space and all this other stuff, and wouldn't be able to get to tell other people in ways that they could understand because they do not understand it themselves, or they were just using it for the one faction of to control the people, and to using certain scriptures to lead them into ways of using them. All right. And then when it leads to science, they like to separate the fact of science and the Bible in the form of discrediting one another. Okay, like when you get, like, I love history and science, so that's the thing that brings everything together. And science, when you bring everything around to organisms, to everything from space to the planets, the only thing they get to is the Big Bang. And in the Bible, it speaks about the beginning of the world, all right? And to the point of, it was just a snap of the fingers for the Heavenly Father, all right? so so it's the same as the Big Bang. The Big Bang was something that happened instantaneously, in which everything was formed. But also is very, what leads me to this, also in the book of Enoch, it describes souls in the form of when the Heavenly Father originally created the world as well. That is so profound, I think, as well. So it speaks of a river, or it speaks of a lake full of, it doesn't say individuals, it just says a lake full of howling out, I'll say it, souls, all right? But it was like individuals howling out, right? And then you can say this is the birthplace of souls and everything else. So they were howling out because they knew what was to come. What was to come, you might ask? What was to come was their journey and their test to come down to earth, all right? Because they knew, and inside the book of Enoch, it describes and it says it in more description of the souls being so scared and frightened to come down to earth, because they knew that they're living in a heavenly area, and that when they come down, they were saying, "Woe is me! We're gonna forget everything that we know now, and then forget where we're at, and we're not gonna be at this upper area, and that we're gonna be stuck in a vessel and all this other stuff." All right. So they were very scared, frightened. They were just sad and everything else like that, because they knew that the test that was to come. Okay, and it just speaks as an ocean of souls. Okay. So that's very interesting into what I think also when we get to history, science, and the mind, body, and spirit, also to the fact of you are in a vessel made of organs and all this other good stuff, but it moves in a certain way that has been created by a mastermind, all right? But inside these organs and everything else like that, and similar to the Kabbalah, is your mind, the strength in your mind transitions to your body. So what you want it to be is what, or what you want your reality to be is what you think. If what you think is what you are, and so on and so forth. All right. So what I'm saying is, it's very interesting how we're living beings. You know, you do have a mind, you do have a heart, you do have a body, but you have a soul as well. All right. And what's very interesting about the nature of the soul and the ocean of the soul is the fact that they are put inside of a vessel. All right. So it speaks upon that nature as well. And so we're getting to the point of, why was it taken out of the Bible? All right. To the point where I said that that it was used for control and something that they couldn't interpret themselves, as well as leading to the century that we're in now, to the point where they tried to separate science and history. But the scientists that went along with that nature and everything else like that have come to the fact, look into top brain scientists, high accredited scientists everywhere, they say that there is a God, because initially you would think scientists do not believe in a God, but there's so much proof. All right, whether it comes down to the foundation of plants, when it comes down to the foundation of the solar system, when it comes down to the foundation of technology, alrighty, everything is proof that God exists, that there's a mastermind behind everything. All right, so so that comes to the initial reasoning is, somebody created all this. All right, so that is what we're living in now. And in the previous video, I speaks of the importance of Enoch in the haps of my journey leading myself to Enoch, far as other natures of wisdom, far as the Hermetica, the Kabbalah. Those are two great books that I would definitely advise y'all to look into. And they're translated from the scribes of Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the thrice great. So, and like I said, he was given that name